episode, we are talking about lots of wonderful things. But first, this is a letter from one of her friends. She is one of the best friends I could ever ask for. She has helped me face every struggle I have experienced throughout our 13 or 14 years of friendship. She and I don't see each other much, but when we do, we go right back where we left off. And that's what I love about our friendship and her in general. She is the kind of person to look for those who need a friend and be welcoming and kind to that person. She is always striving to help others. Her kind and welcoming spirit is one of the things that makes me really admire her. And this is why Kenna deserves the Global Most Awesome Person Award of the Year. And that is from
Yes.
Kenna. Welcome to the Holly Show.
Thank you for
Your
having
friend,
me.
Emma. Kenna, you tell me just a little bit about yourself because you're 17,
Yes.
which I think might be surprising to a lot of people. It was to me, even after the third time that I met you. I thought that you were at least in college.
No, not yet.
But Kenna, tell me, what is your life like right now?
So right now, I was online for school for my junior year of high school, and so I've been working at a chiropractic office that I go to, and I'll hopefully be back in person in the fall for my senior year. But I just like to work out, go on walks. I love to be with everybody at work because they're just like my second family. Hang out with my own family and my boyfriend and my family host exchange students. And our last one actually just went home last week. And so just hanging out with them and really just living life as best as I can.
I know what it's like to have house guests come and go. I have always enjoyed people staying in my house.
Mhm.
And I think once upon a time, people would say that I'm a friend to most people. But since your friend Emma said that you're a friend to everybody who you come into contact with, is that the same as the foreign exchange students being in your space?
Kind of.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So we posted 8 over the last 5.5 years, and our boy that just went home was our last one.
How long do these students usually stay in the house?
It's been our first couple stayed for anywhere from like 4 to 7 months, and then we had some stay for like 6 months, and then the boy that just went home stayed for like a whole year.
Wow.
And then we had a couple that just moved in with us because they needed like a better family until they got like a permanent family. And so they just stayed with us for like 2 weeks.
How neat is that?
Yeah.
Wait, so you said this is the eighth?
Yeah. He was our eighth one.
And these folks stay anywhere from 4 months to a year, or you said
Yeah.
7 months?
Yeah.
So,
It just depended on which kid it was.
so you've grown up with foreign exchange students in your
Yeah.
house.
Our first one was in fifth grade, fifth or sixth grade. But yeah.
Wow.
And
How
so they've all been
cool.
way older than me because they make all exchange students seniors. And even though they're all like 15, 16, 17, 18, but the boy that we just had and I are the exact same age. And so it was super fun that we could like do everything together because I was finally like old enough, like with the kids.
How did your boyfriend feel about that?
They were super close.
Okay.
Yeah. We were all really close.
That is so fun.
Yeah, it was
Your
awesome.
parents must be some of the most awesome people in
Yeah.
the world, too.
Yeah.
And this is why I wanted to bring you on, is because you have this whole story
Yeah.
of, I don't want to get too far into it. So start at your birth.
So I was born 8 weeks early because they had to take me to save my mom because my mom was getting really sick, and the only way to keep her from dying was to take me. So I was born at 3 pounds and 11 ounces, and I was supposed to be in the NICU for 6 weeks, but I was only in for 13 days because then I was healthy enough to be able to go home. And then after then, I had torticollis as a baby when I was
Now,
starting.
what is torticollis?
Torticollis is like when you have like your neck muscles aren't fully developed, so you kind of tilt like this.
Okay.
And that's what I had when I was a baby.
Okay.
And then when I was starting to walk, my parents noticed I couldn't really go down our steps into the basement, but they weren't really sure why. So then they took me to a doctor, and it turns out I had hip dysplasia. So my hip had come out of socket and I walked with it like that for a year and a half. And then when I was 2.5, I had hip surgery and was in a body cast up to my stomach, and then my legs were straight and 18 inches apart. And so I was in a body cast.
Your knees were 18 inches apart or your hips?
My legs, so my legs went out like this, and they were like 18 inches, and I was in a body cast up to like my belly button.
Oh my, 18 inches. That's like three times your body width at
Yeah.
2 years old.
Yeah.
That's
And
wild.
that's actually how I met Emma, the girl that wrote that intro, because she also had hip surgery the year after me. And so that's how we came in contact with each other.
Oh,
I
what a
think we met when
blessing.
I was 3 and she was 2.
How sweet is that?
Hmm. So yeah, then it was my hip surgery, and then that recovered, and then I was constantly getting ear infections, upper respiratory infections. Like I was just never really healthy. And then starting in first grade, I got super nauseous every day, but it wasn't like the typical nausea in your stomach. It was more like I was nauseous in the back of my throat, which is like the only way I could explain that to my parents was I'm nauseous in my throat. And then that evolved to nausea in my stomach, which I experienced for 8 years, morning, noon, and night, all the time from first grade until I was a freshman in high school. I
No way.
constantly was nauseous. I wasn't going to throw up. I knew it wasn't a nausea like that. It was just like a lingering nausea that never went away. And
Okay,
nothing would
so
help
you
it.
weren't throwing up throughout the day. You
Nope.
just always felt like you were going to?
Yeah. I knew I wasn't actually going to,
Uh-huh.
because like if I were to get sick like that, it was kind of a different feeling, but it was just this feeling of nausea that never went away for 8 years.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
And then always getting ear infections. I was always getting hurt. I was always spraining something, breaking something, tearing something, like constantly getting hurt as well. And
So were
then,
you an active child? I mean, all most children are, they
yeah,
move around a lot, right? But were
mhm,
you in sports and all of
yeah.
that, or was that like
I
a
played
no-go?
tennis when I was younger. And then in fourth grade, I started playing volleyball. And I did robotics for 4 years, as well as like quiz bowl, because I love to learn. I love to just constantly be learning. And so I did like those sorts of clubs as well.
Okay. So you were still able to be active. I mean,
Yeah.
children are resilient,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. But then like the biggest struggles for me happened when I was in 8th grade, was when everything really started to go downhill. So my 8th grade year, I was in school from August to November, and then I had a volleyball injury where I tore 75% of my ligament and unattached two nerves in a volleyball game. And so then I had, of course, to go to the doctor to figure out what was wrong, and it was 5 weeks until I could get in for surgery.
Oh man.
And during that time, we didn't realize that right after surgery, I wasn't going to be able to walk. Because
Why?
one day, right after surgery, I was in my cast. I was watching a movie with my mom and our exchange student at the time. And I went to get up off the couch, and my leg gave out just like that. And the pain that I was experiencing from the time from injury into my arm surgery had rewired my brain, and my brain was just firing missed signals. So I had popping in my arms and my legs because my nerves just kept randomly firing because we couldn't figure out what was wrong. And so I ended up in a wheelchair. And then that is when COVID hit. So then I was online the rest of my 8th grade year as well.
Oh my. Okay, so one day you're doing what you love doing. By the way, what was your position in
I was a
volleyball?
hitter.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Cool. I loved volleyball.
me
That
too.
was my game. I was
Hmm.
back row specialist.
Or libero, yeah.
Oh, that's a fancy term. I didn't know that. I come from a small town. I don't know if anybody from that small town even knows those terms.
It's funny.
I think that we called it back row specialist because I love the digging part.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So you were a hitter. So that's
Yeah, so I was actually serving when I got hurt. So I went to serve, and as soon as I made contact with the ball, I felt a pop right in here. And then that's when the ligament and the nerves had torn just like that.
oh my goodness. Okay, so you're playing volleyball one day. Your ligaments tear. It's excruciating,
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure.
Hmm. I kept playing though.
You did.
Yeah, we won.
Of course you did.
Gotta do what you gotta do sometimes.
You got to do it. That's great. So then you go on for 5 months, or excuse me, 5 weeks without surgery.
Mhm.
You get surgery.
Yeah, I was only in a wheelchair, I think, for just the month of January. And then we had to like retrain my body to walk. And then everything seemed to be fine. I mean, I was never the healthiest kid, so I'd still get, the ear infections and the different things, but I hadn't gotten hurt. And then it was summertime that following summer, and we have a lake house. And so I was just driving the golf cart with some friends, and I went to turn the wheel of the golf cart, and my ligament and nerves unattached again just from turning.
Oh my goodness.
And so then it was 7 weeks until I could have the next surgery for them to reattach everything for a second time. And so, like, the pain and everything again was just insane. During that time, I don't remember if it was right before or right after the arm surgery, I had developed this severe anxiety where watching TV, I'd have a panic attack. Doing anything, I'd have a panic attack. Just wake up at 1 a.m. every single night with a panic attack.
Hmm.
I would have anywhere from like 12 to 30 a day. They could last 5 minutes, they could last 4 hours. It was like I couldn't do anything.
Now, at this point in your life, you're what, 13, 14 years old?
14.
You've had a lifetime of just issue after issue after issue. And now it sounds like you were in this storm.
Absolutely.
So, do you remember at the time, did you find yourself thinking, like, is this normal? Like,
There were
what was
some
going on at
things,
that point?
like, since I had the nausea ever since I was in first grade, I didn't necessarily realize that wasn't normal because I had basically grown up with that. And I knew that this anxiety and everything, like, wasn't supposed to happen, but there were lots of things I was like, oh, like, I didn't know it wasn't normal because I had it since I was little.
Now at this point, are you thinking like, okay, I'm just kind of done with this? Like,
Yeah,
like at
definitely
what,
tired of it.
do you know what the panic attacks were caused by?
So it actually was just caused, it wasn't a chemical imbalance, which is what they told me it was. It was just my nervous system was in such overload, and that's what it was from.
That now there's a they who's saying that they're like, this is what the cause is.
Hmm.
By the way, throughout the years, you've seen lots of doctors
Oh, yeah.
and
Tons of doctors, specialists all over, and none of them could really do anything. I mean, I also had asthma. I had the worst constipation and tons of food allergy, tons of everything. Like, it was everything.
oh my goodness.
Like, I'd have bowel movements once a week, once every 10 days. I would get sick all the time because I wasn't passing. It was I was on every antibiotic, everything you can think of. I'd be on 6, 10 antibiotics at a time.
Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
So did the foreign exchange students, I mean, they're coming from a different country.
Right.
So I can imagine they're probably like, in America, the people are sick.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
what it was like?
They said, like, some of them, especially the one that we had during 8th grade when I had the volleyball injury, she said she had never been to a doctor as many times in her whole life in Sweden as she had in the short amount of time she was here before she got sent home because of COVID. Like, the kids in other countries, they just don't really go to the doctor. And here, especially me being as sick as I was all the time, like, they said they were never at this many appointments in their own countries.
I can imagine. And that's, I think, another conversation for another time.
Right.
Okay, so the anxiety is a thing. You miss out most of your first year of high school,
Yeah.
and it's COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So now what?
So then, during April of my freshman year of high school was when I finally found like my answers to healing. There was this story going around from this family in Indiana where I live about Light for Levi. And it was these twins that I think were two who had a near drowning. And because they were also from Indiana, we didn't live by them. But lots of our family and friends were sharing their story because they were local people to our state. And their mom, Megan, had posted this poster, and it was the perfect storm. and it listed out a ton of symptoms like ear infections, anxiety, ADHD, constipation, colic, torticollis, all sorts of symptoms on this poster, and I was 90% of that poster. And my mom had found it as she was scrolling one night on Facebook, and then it led to PwC Chiropractic in Illinois. And so in April, my mom and I went for 2 weeks, and it was an intensive program. So it was 2 adjustments a day, every day except Sundays for 2 weeks. And I walked in on crutches for the first adjustment Monday morning, the second adjustment on Monday, never picked up the crutches again.
What?
By the third day, I was weaning off my anxiety meds, and my nausea completely went away on the third day. Never had it after that.
What?
Mm-hmm.
What
It
were
was
they
amazing.
What were they doing in these 3 days? So 3 days, at the end of 3 days, you've had 6 adjustments now.
Yes. Yep. And it
What were
was
they
just the different adjustments because my body was so in overload that once they took the pressure off all the nerves and got my nervous system regulating again, that I didn't truly have these issues. It was just because my body was in such overdrive that they could completely go away.
These are drastic changes.
Drastic. It was life changing. I saw colors brighter. I could function. I could everything
This was just in 3 days.
in
Oh my
three
goodness.
days.
Whoa. Okay. So for how long were you visiting these
So it was the
doctors?
2 weeks. It was the 2 week program that we did.
Okay. So only 2 weeks.
Yep. And then after that, since that was quite a bit of a drive from our house, we went to a closer chiropractor to where we live and started going 3 times a week I did 3 times a week for like a year and a half, I think. And then in about the last 4 months, I've been down to twice a week.
Wow.
Yep. Because it's just where my body feels best, like in this current state, is still going twice a week.
So this is 2 years
Yep.
now
It was
that
2 years in April.
Okay. At the time of this filming, we are filming in June.
Yes.
So it's been 2 years and a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
Now for a teenager, 2 years is like a really long period of
Yeah.
time. Kenna, just for reference, as an adult, 2 years goes by like a month and a half.
Right.
So so I am aware that, 2 years can feel like a very long time. Yeah. Having that drastic shift in just 3 days, what were the next 2 weeks like? And then what were the next 2 years like?
After the last the last week and a half of the intensive, my acne was clearing up, the eczema on my arms was clearing up, I was having bowel movements, like everything was finally like in order, how a body should function. And it was so weird to me for probably the first 6 months that I wasn't nauseous because it was just kind of like a empty, like kind of feeling like it wasn't there, like it was just gone. Mm-hmm. And it took probably 6 months for me to get used to that I didn't have that feeling. And over like where I am today, since for the last about 8 months, I've really been working on gut health and cycle syncing for my menstrual cycle and just truly like being healthy, like repairing everything that was damaged from all the antibiotics. And because that takes a very long time, and like I'm the healthiest I've ever been. And I've lost about 30 pounds since that first intensive 2 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So gut health, let's start there because this is something, it's kind of a buzzword and we're hearing it a lot. Probiotics, prebiotics. Nobody knows which one to actually take.
Yeah.
So I mean, it sounds to me like you were already feeling pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Your life did an entire 180, totally on the opposite side of the spectrum. So then you decided to take it further with gut health. Now you're having regular movements.
Yes.
Why gut health?
So gut health to me was just very important because of everything that I had going on. Because of all the antibiotics, it really just attacks your gut. And so the only way to repair that is to fix it. So I take a probiotic to help bring in good bacteria that the antibiotics stripped out, as well as I have a lot of orange juice for vitamin C, coconut water for potassium, just all those crucial vitamins and minerals to really repair your gut, as well as
Mhm.
collagen for gut lining. Just everything like all natural, all good things, just so you can truly heal from the inside out. Because when your gut's healthy, then the rest of you will be healthy.
Mm-hmm. How did you choose your probiotic?
The probiotic I chose was a company that the place I work at recommended. That's
Okay.
like who they use. And so that's the kind that I use. And I've seen great results with it.
Okay, so cycle syncing. You're
Yes,
17.
I am.
How was your cycle before you
So my
started going to PWC?
crazy, crazy. It would be so how you're supposed to have like 28 days in between your cycles. I could have like 14, 45, 38, miss a month, have two in a month. They could last 3 days, 12 days. I mean, it would be, I would never know what I was expecting.
Oh my goodness. I mean, were your symptoms just as
Oh, they were
erratic?
awful. I'd have to take off of school. I'd just be curled up in a ball on the couch because cramps, headaches, backache, like everything would hurt. I would throw up, just extreme nausea. Everything would just be awful.
Bless your mother's heart.
Mm-hmm.
That poor, I just want to give past you a big hug, just cradle you in my arms and like
Yeah.
make it all better. I can't even imagine what your poor mom must have been going through.
Yeah.
She must really be a strong, faithful woman.
Yes.
Okay, so crazy erratic
Oh,
symptoms.
yeah, it was awful. They were awful. And so, really, since February, so 4 or 5 months ago, is when I started cycle syncing. So, what that means is you eat certain foods and certain workouts according to each of the four phases of your menstrual cycle. And so I have this app that really breaks it all down. It tells you why you eat these foods, why you do low impact workouts, high impact workouts. And I have gotten my periods down to about every 33 days in between cycles. And
Consistently.
they're consistent. And of course, I want to try to get it closer to that 28, but I only have cramping the first day. I don't have any headaches, just a little bit of back pain. And yeah, they last about 6 days instead of all random, and they're way better and way healthier.
So, did you see any difference in your cycle while you were in the, I guess, in the intensive program with PWC, or even through the past years of chiropractic, or was cycle
So they were
syncing
better.
something?
They
Okay.
were better. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I had my period about 4 years before I started chiropractic. And
Okay.
so they had gotten better, but they still just weren't like great. And now they're way better.
And you attribute that to cycle syncing, the app that
Yeah.
you're using.
It's definitely been cycle syncing, gut health, chiropractic, like the top three things.
My goodness.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, now that you're feeling so good, I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen this girl in person. Her skin is glowing.
Yeah.
I was looking back at the photo of the four of us when you were in West Palm Beach with your mom,
Yeah.
and I was like, my goodness, this girl's skin is just so clear
Yeah.
and like so
Do you
like,
want to know the secret?
please.
I only wash my face with water. I don't use face wash. I use no face products. I just splash some warm water and some cold water, and that's it.
Do you wear makeup?
Yeah, I use this organic makeup brand. I think it's pronounced Araza, I think is how you
Okay.
say it. And yeah, so I use their mascara and their lip gloss and sometimes their concealer, but like all I have on right now is just a little bit of mascara.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Such a blessing to be a teenager with young, beautiful, supple
And
skin.
I used to have the worst acne. I mean,
Mm.
it was really bad.
Okay. Used to. So was this pre PWC or pre like gut health?
Both. It was like the
I mean,
worst before PWC, and then I was still experiencing more just like hormonal acne down under my chin and on my jawline. But really, since I've been working on the gut health and the cycle syncing, it's really cleared up a lot.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
because it's like the cycle syncing really just balances your hormones. And so like it gets like your estrogen and your progesterone and everything like where it should be.
Hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
So now you're feeling so healthy. Your skin
Yeah.
is glowing. You've dropped 30 unnecessary pounds.
Yeah.
You've got your cycle syncing. You've got your gut health. You've got your
Mhm.
regular chiropractic
Yes.
care, which you're still doing, you said.
Yes. Yep.
You're down to 2 times a week.
Yep.
What is the plan for that? Do you plan to continue chiropractic care? Do you need to,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
because you got to
So
keep doing it,
eventually
right?
I'll probably go down to once a week, but for
Mm.
just where I am and with like my whole history of being so sick, I just feel the best at twice a week right now. Some
Hmm.
people need a little bit more or less frequency, but for me right now, twice a week is where I feel best.
Okay. So you're a junior in high school,
Yep, I'll be a senior in the fall.
which means summer of 24, you'll be graduating from high school.
Yep.
And then what?
And then I'm going to go to a school in Georgia to be a chiropractor.
Of course you are.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't want to just make that assumption. Like, just because chiropractic care changed your life,
Right?
cycle syncing changed your life, gut health changed your
Yeah.
life, you really liked volleyball,
Yeah.
so you could do anything with your life,
Yeah.
and you've chosen to do chiropractic.
Yeah.
And why?
Just because it is the one thing that really helped me the most. Like,
Mm.
if I didn't start that intensive program, I don't know where I'd be. And absolutely, chiropractic was the thing that saved me and saved my life. And I just want to give that impact to other people, other kids, babies, and just everybody.
Now, you see, being in a chiropractic office now, are you seeing people coming in with the same types of issues that you
Yeah,
experienced?
so we see people, for some of them are more pain management, some have injuries, some is just a wellness because their parents have done it, their siblings, everything. Lots of people have the anxiety, the ADHD, the nausea, the constipation, everything. It's a very wide range of symptoms we see in our office.
Now, you have the gamut. I know that there is more. I know that there are far more ailments, but I don't know that one person, and this isn't a comparison game, but I don't know that one child or one person could have, like, I think, okay, anything is possible, but it just seems like you were dealing
Yeah,
with a lot.
a
Like,
lot.
for one person to be
Yeah,
dealing with it seems like a lot.
it was a lot. And every year from school, I'd miss like 30 days, like kindergarten up until 8th grade. And then I've been online the last couple years. So it's just,
Yeah.
yeah, like I was never fully in school. Like friends don't understand. Like nobody truly understands what you're going through.
And so for those people who are coming in, maybe the rest of their health is like okay, they've got whatever issues that constipation is causing,
Mm-hmm.
or they've got whatever issues that are being caused by, or ADHD is causing,
Yeah.
right? So it's like one core symptom and then everything else kind of spreads out around it.
Yeah.
That's still deeply affecting that individual's lives and the lives of their families.
Yeah.
So for you to decide, look, I had a rough go. I
Mm-hmm.
experienced this and this and this and this. I can see why you, in your heart, wanting to care so
Yeah.
much for people, want to help them to not experience
Yeah.
those things. Yeah. Kenna, if there is one word of advice that you could give moms,
Mm-hmm.
what would you say to encourage a mom who is just going through so much with their kid?
I'd say get them adjusted for sure and just truly do your research. Like, figure out what is the root cause of these issues, not medication to cover up the problem, how to
Mm.
truly fix the problem that your children are experiencing so
Mhm.
they can grow and they can thrive to become healthier.
Mm.
Because if we don't have our health, we really don't have anything.
Well, we got our faith. If we got our faith, then
Yes.
right. But it's true. If you don't have your health, it's
Yeah.
very difficult to quality of life
Yes.
is yes. Yeah. I hear what you're saying. All right, Kenna Cooley, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for joining me today and for sharing your story and for being the light that you are in the world.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Kenna. And thank you for listening. And hey, if you heard anything educational, inspirational, or encouraging today, and you want more people to have the opportunity to hear it as well, please make sure that you subscribe, rate and review, and share. And as always, thank you for your support and for being the change that you want to see in the world.